Down first.
We're live, guys. Hello, everybody.
Thanks for the heads up, producer man. Way to usher.
We're live, everybody. We don't have any music, so we're just live. Hey, everybody. I'm Matthew Roth. I am the new host of my show. I have my friends Michael Fagan and Derek Sabatiki with me. They join me. I allow them to take part in my show.
See, and here I thought you were going to be smart enough to plug your other show before you got into this one. Still not.
You mean my amazing show, Cage Side Live, every Wednesday night on Cage Side Seats at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're actually going to be running a show after Elimination Chamber on Sunday the 23rd. So everybody get ready for some pro wrestling on Sunday. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today as far as MMA goes, so let's get to the chase. Top of the card, we got big news today. UFC 170. Rashad Evans is hurt. Who the fuck is Patrick Cummings?
He's 4-0. Not a stellar winning competition, but I'll tell you what he is. He's a fucking UFC fighter now. And this morning, he was working at a goddamn coffee shop to support his dream of being a professional mixed martial artist, which he is, and he gets paid for fights. But anybody who does it and still has to work a job, and I don't know if he was full-time or part-time, we don't know what his hourly wage was or his benefit schedule, but I guarantee his fiscal situation is a hell of a lot better now than it was 6 hours ago, and good for him. What a day for Patrick Cummings. Yeah, how do you be a dick after that, Mike? How do you follow that up with your naysaying fucking gray cloud bullshit? Like, how do you do that?
I mean, whatever.
Where do you get the balls to come on and shit on Patrick Cummings' parade?
I'm not going to shit on this parade. It's great for him.
I feel shit. Well, no. How else do you feel about this matchup?
It's a meaningless matchup. It's an opportunity for Cormier to not waste his training camp and his weight cut. That's good. That's great.
And I disagree with Marchman on this, too. Tim Marchman has an atrocious article up on Deadspin about this, in which he refers to Patrick Cummings as, quote, a guy from Twitter, end quote. And goes on in the comment section to say that I have my own ranking system, and that's why I called Cormier the number one contender. Daniel Cormier's never been the number one contender. He was not the number one contender at heavyweight for that shit decision against Frank Mir, and he was not the number one contender at light heavyweight, having never fought a fight. If he beats Rashad, maybe he leaps Gustafsson. But either way, he's not the number one contender, nor has he ever been. It's his introduction to the weight class, and yeah, it's a much easier fight, and he'll be a staggering overdog, as we've said on the show before. But what would you have had them do? Did you want them to just pull Cormier from the card, which he explicitly and vocally did not want to happen, and just put the fight off?
I just already answered that.
No,
it's a great fight because it's good for Cormier because he doesn't have to waste his training camp. It's good for Cummings because he obviously was doing nothing before this.
You're all about tune-up fights, too. Don't you think coming down and fighting Rashad is a hell of a debut at light heavyweight?
No. I mean, not when you're a regular fighter, man.
Did you think Rashad was going to win that fight?
It's a tough fight if Cormier took 2 years off and he was making his UFC debut against Rashad Evans.
No, a lot of people thought Rashad Evans was going to win that fight. That was not some kind of everyone was picking Cormier to walk away with. Rashad was picked by a lot of people.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean he needs a tune-up fight at light heavyweight. He's a regular fighter. The idea of a tune-up fight is that you're out for an indefinite or for a long period of time.
I'm not saying a tune-up. I'm saying a debut. Like you're all about the tune-up fight. Okay, right. And I guess you feel differently about the tune-up fight and your debut at a different weight class. I feel like your debut at a weight class should not be a killer. You should be able to settle in a little bit. That doesn't bother me from that perspective. I wanted to see the fight.
Cormier is what, 33, 34? Like he wants to.
He's dead. Put a bullet in his head.
No, he wants to accelerate his chance to get to a title shot, and Rashad Evans is a perfect opportunity for him.
That's why they wanted to do Rashad. But in the absence of Rashad, he still wanted to fight next week. So they found a guy, and I can't imagine how many people.
No one's arguing that, Derek.
Would you have rather they did Chael Sonnen? Would that have been preferable to you?
No.
Okay, so this is better than Chael Sonnen.
Here's the thing, Derek, and I think my big beef is this: ignoring the fact that that Cummings is a convicted burglar. It's the fact is that what's the upside? What's the upside for Cormier for beating Patrick Cummings? Or here's the question: what happens if Cormier loses?
Well, that would be staggering, and that would mean that Cormier probably didn't have any business in the cage with Rashad Evans to begin with, but it would also be shocking given his recent history.
Okay, did GSP not have any business against Matt Serra?
No, because it was an upset, and that's what this would be. I don't think it destroys Cormier forever and ever if he loses this fight
It's not a forever and ever. It's a case of light heavyweight doesn't exactly have a giant pool of waiting contenders.
No, but it's got two in a row right now. It's got Teixeira and it's got Gustafsson, and that probably takes care of it until almost the end of the year. So there's enough time for Cormier to come back and win a fight or two between now and then, even if there's some kind of fluke bullshit.
If he loses to Cummins, it's not a fight or two.
Well,
it's two or three, and it's going to be against top quality guys. You can't lose to Daniel Cummins and then expect to waltz right into a title shot.
I believe his name is Patrick Cummings.
Yeah, he said Daniel Cummings, but whatever. but you can't just be you can't go from expecting to on a win against Rashad. They were expecting Cormier versus Jones. You can't go from being not officially named number one contender, but heir apparent to the contendership, and then you lose to Patrick Cummings, and then you're going to say in 1 to 2 fights, he's not Uriah Faber.
It would be his first loss in mixed martial arts
against a no-name fighter who's never been in the UFC.
It'd be a huge upset, but if he came back and beat one other guy and then beat Rashad in September, I'd be okay with that as far as putting together a streak to be the next guy in line at light heavyweight. Because like you said, there's not a lot of other guys that he'd be screwing over in that instance. And the benefit for Cormier is it's a paycheck, and this way he didn't do all that weight cutting for the last month and a half for nothing. He wants to fight, even if it's not against Rashad Evans.
You're setting up this straw man, though. No one's arguing that.
No, he just said, what's the benefit to Cormier? And Cormier wants the fight. Like, Cormier wants to fight for all the benefits
so it's
people
literally
fighting.
A paycheck. So it's literally a paycheck that's the only benefit for Cormier.
Well, like you said, it's no win, all lose. It was the same thing as fucking Donald Cerrone's last fight. That was a no win, all lose situation. Because if you do what you're supposed to do, then congratulations. And if you don't, it's terrible. But it's not the first time it's ever happened.
But that's not exactly a way to book fights. Here's the big thing. Would
you just rather them just pull it off the card and just say, Cormier, we know you want to fight, but fuck off. We'll put you at 172, so, get fat for a week and then start cutting.
Or 171.
Okay, I mean, well, then that's the way you feel about it. Daniel Cormier would obviously disagree with what you want to do there. He doesn't want to wait longer for Rashad. Rashad has, I believe, 4 weeks of rehab on the knee, so 171 is probably not going to happen. I just think that it's a shitty scenario when a guy loses, is injured this close to a card. It's a really shitty scenario when it's a fight that you want to see and a guy gets injured. But this is making the best of a bad situation. I don't know what else we would have done.
I don't even think it's making the best of it.
Well, what would the best of it have been?
I think it's making a situation of a situation.
Well, what would the best of the situation have been?
The best of the situation is, hey,
an unhappy Daniel Cormier because he cut weight for nothing.
Yeah, well, that happens. That is David Bixman, if you fucking interrupt, I swear to God. The fact is that the fact is that if he makes for an unhappy Cormier, but that's just the breaks. That's how the fight game has worked forever.
Well, now we got a bunch of unhappy internet nerds who heard about this fight and bitched about it. And it was really only like half of the community.
They were unhappy. They were unhappy that Rashad got hurt. They wouldn't be unhappy that Cormier got pulled from the card instead of fighting a giant no-namer named fucking
Patrick Cummings.
Patrick Cummings.
Well, here's the deal.
Which how about this, Subo? Without looking at Sherdog, without looking at anything. Tell me how Patrick Cummings wins his fights.
TKO in the Strikeforce Challengers debut, his pro debut that I watched earlier today. That was a TKO victory. I had imagined decisions on the rest because he's a runner-up All-American at Penn State.
He's won by rear naked choke. You wouldn't even know this because you've never heard of Patrick Cummings. Nobody's ever heard of Patrick Cummings. You can't put him in a fucking co-main event. You cannot do it. Don't fucking do it.
Here's the deal. If I'm the promoter, if I'm Dana White, and I have to worry about pissing off Daniel Cormier or people like Matt Roth, I'm going to pick pissing off people like Matt Roth every fucking time. There is no doubt in my mind that the sliver of MMA fans that are negatively reacting to this, Zuffa does not give a fuck about them. Zuffa should not give a fuck about them because they don't fucking matter.
Here's the thing. Patrick Cummings is really fucking expensive.
It costs a lot of money. You can't go out there and put up stinkers.
No, but for real though, and this is actually kind of concerning. He is a convicted burglar. So this is completely shitting in the face of their entire policy with everything anyway.
This, you know who is expensive and actually costs money.
But the UFC has they've cut somebody that didn't even attempted murder his wife.
Well, I think what you're saying, Matt, is that if Cummings was under Zuffa contract when he burglared whatever he burglared, he'd be cut and would never be allowed back.
But the German guy who's part of the neo-Nazi soccer firm, he was cut and he didn't fight in the UFC, and he did that before the UFC. Crime is crime, and if we're setting a precedent, that shit is for everything. So you know what? I don't want him fighting Patrick Cummings now. I don't want him near that.
Are you really?
Because criminal is criminal. A criminal is a criminal. Criminal is a criminal.
So you want to cut Des Bryant?
No,
I don't want to do that. No, I love Des Bryant.
But that's not in the UFC. That's in the NFL. And as we know, the NFL has no problem with allowing a dog killer, a guy that murdered people, a guy that has a hit and run. It's the NFL's only problem with gay people. And we know the second that there would be a gay male fighter, people would just be like, I don't know. I don't think he can ever make it to the UFC. A one-handed fighter can't get into the UFC. You think a gay guy could get into the UFC?
Are you comparing gay people to people with deformities that leave them without all their limbs?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Yes, I am.
It's fair.
Because they are one and the same.
Back to my fantastic segue. You know who does cost a lot of money? Gilbert Melendez.
Wait, why wouldn't you just segue into the...
Because I'm going by fucking McKinley's list, and I'm saving my homo piece for later.
Here's the thing. You are terrible at segues. So we're going to talk about the homophobes. Hey, here's the question. What do you think about the word faggot? Because Bloodstained Lane,
when you say it,
and literally everybody else is totally okay with saying fucking homos.
Now, when you say the word faggot, I think of Bloodstained Lane. I associate the word and him in my head together. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not the prejudiced man, but when I hear faggot, I think Bloodstained Lane.
No. With Bloodstained Lane, when I think Bloodstained Lane, I think fucking axe kick.
Andy Hug. Andy Hug?
Eddie Hug. I love it. You know, his director was just like, it's a hug. Like, do it like it's a hug.
It actually is Hug.
Yeah.
It actually is Andy Hug. But,
well, Derek, you wrote...
McKinley fucking breaking that shit down.
But here's the thing. Derek never wrote for a kickboxing website named headkicklegend.com. I can actually vouch for that. He never wrote for us.
It's been known to happen. I can.
That was a joke about how Derek.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, I'm doing great now that I'm getting paid, Roth. Maybe you should have tried that shit at some point.
I gave you a free stream. And
yeah, piss right in my face for all eternity. Thank you.
You never wrote for a better kickboxing site than Head Kick Legend. You
liar. Yeah, you're the top
David
of that
Bixispan,
one site pile.
Here's the thing, David Bixispan. I don't need you anymore. I'm the king of fucking pro wrestling. I'm the king of rock. I'm the David Arquette here.
David Arquette, you piece of shit.
I'm a champion.
So much. God,
I'm the best Jew in pro wrestling. Better than Colt Cabana.
You're stupid.
Anyway,
Derek, you want to talk about that?
Derek, you talk about your piece.
Okay. Matt's going to leave as I talk about my piece. What a douchebag. Unbelievable. You piece of shit. I was going to write about fights I was excited for this month, and I'll probably do that eventually, but it just gets to be too much sometimes. And then Michael Sam comes out from Missouri, something that doesn't have anything to do with mixed martial arts whatsoever. And this kid has nothing to gain by it. He's slated to probably be 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick, middle rounds. And all this does is give a team a reason to pick somebody who's similarly skilled and maybe a little undersized, but was a hard worker, came from a good program. All it does is hurt him. And first you have the reactions of, there have been gay football players, it isn't a big deal. So if it's not a big deal, why the fuck are you talking about it? And then you have people like Bloodstained Lane who have profited for a long time now, and we've talked about it on the show, just by rallying these fucking armies of ignorance and then, shelling his sponsors or whoever them off to them. And it's ridiculous. He's somebody that, I don't know who does the MMA Philosophy Twitter account, but it's somebody who should have been drummed out of our ranks as soon as they opened their stupid fucking mouths. And I said last week that MMA fans were, just as stupid as NFL fans as opposed to more stupid. And I'm really rethinking that now. There seems to be, even in our small community, which necessarily makes the stupid voices louder, there seems to be a worse ratio of good, decent people that enjoy mixed martial arts and fucking Neanderthal pieces of shit that want to use it as a sign that they're better than other people who don't, and B, an excuse to beat up every part of culture that they don't like because they're insulated in this. You don't see that anywhere else.
Here's the thing, I've kind of had this feeling for a while. I think that MMA, and Mike, maybe you want to weigh in. I think MMA really is the lowest common denominator. Every so often, and I think that perception is that our fans are smarter or more inclined to intellectual discussion, because Michael, myself, and Derek, we all came up commenting in the Bloody Elbow comment section, which far and away, in my opinion, is a very, very intelligent comment section. People don't resort to name calling or death threats or things like that usually. People don't post asses, as a response to an actual well-formed argument. So, our experience has always been that, MMA fans are at least kind of intelligent. But, this is the same fucking sport that has given a guy like Adam Hunter a voice.
Can
and
we not
just a
compare?
Voice.
Wait a second. That's not fair. I know.
No, it's completely fair. It is.
Can we not put
fair.
him in the Bloodstained Lane?
No.
He's right there, dude.
He is right there.
As far as
because
being
he's
a
made that
homophobe?
Yes, he has made that same fucking kind of rape culture comment with fucking Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche. He does it every single fucking time.
Bound box every time.
Every single time. He is a fucking meathead dude that is going least
I'll agree
lowest
as
common
far as
denominator.
his shitty comedy. It would be like, I wrote that it would be like him and, guys like Bloodstained Lane. It's the equivalent of giving one of those guys that stabbed somebody in the NFL parking lot a talk show. It's the most detestable part of the live fan experience writ large in mass media, to the point where Fox fucking hires the guy.
Not even that, but he's on fucking Google Hangouts, having interviews with Dana White. This isn't just
Let me be honest, I thought we were talking about Adam Martin there for a second. That's why I thought
Adam
it was
Martin,
fair.
yeah,
Totally fuck MMA roasted. I mixed it up there. So Adam Martin is not that bad.
No, Adam Martin is bad, but he's not that bad. Adam Hunter, though, MMA roasted. This is a sport that has given him a fucking voice, like an actual real voice. Where look, we all know who GFK on MMA is. I'm sorry, as we're going like funny parody accounts, I'd rather listen to him for commentary than MMA roasted. He's funnier and he's not a homophobe.
Well, one thing that's interesting, Matt, in regards to the lowest common denominator fan, is that the MMA culture is obviously highly related to other combat sports, and the jiu-jitsu culture, from what I've experienced, has been nothing but intelligent, reasonable, pretty decent people. I've only had experience in a few gyms, but if you train, there's a certain aspect of you get humbled. If you can go through 6 months or a year of jiu-jitsu, you're gonna get humbled over and over again. That's just
train, bro.
That's just a matter.
That should be our go-to question. The guys who ask that are always great guys.
But it's not even that. It's like, yeah, jiu-jitsu culture. There's certain upsides and downsides, and there's a lot of obviously there's shit going on within jiu-jitsu culture as we've learned with Team Lloyd Irvin. But
right.
but and Gino Morasco, who runs Cage Side Seats, he just tweeted at me and he said, honestly, pro wrestling is more respectable at MMA at this point. And can you make the argument that it's not? Really? I mean, try and form an argument and say that pro wrestling fans, yeah, you have the people that are, it's still real to me, damn it, and it's mostly redneck hillbillies in the South. But, you don't see them chanting, you didn't see them when Darren Young came out. You didn't hear the arenas erupted with faggot chants. I think that it would happen in the UFC.
It didn't happen with Dakota Cochran on The Ultimate Fighter, even though he's not gay. He said he did it for the money, but I'll tell you what, if you ask a homophobe, there's no such thing as doing it for the money. That guy's a faggot as far as they're concerned, no matter how many girlfriends or wives he ever has for the rest of his life. That's the way the homophobe thinks.
No, but he never fought in the UFC. He never fought in front of a live
He wasn't
UFC
on the finale.
crowd.
I thought he was on the finale.
No, Dakota Cochran actually never made it into the show. He got eliminated.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a
So I mean, but imagine if I
don't think it would be as bad as you say it is. I truly don't.
But I think that it would be bad. I think the Michael.
You think Michael Sam is going to catch some shit when he gets in the NFL?
I don't think that you're going to hear the MetLife Stadium erupt in faggot chants.
I don't think you'd hear the MGM Grand do that either, but I think there'd be some fans, and I think they'd get thrown the fuck out.
I think it's very possible, especially with Derek. You've been to live. We've all been to live shows with.
I sure have.
The cat calling for the ring girls, dude. If you don't think that there would be faggot chants for a gay fighter with the shit that is said to the ring girls, dude, you are out of your fucking mind.
There are enough people there that are either train or are fighters or have relations to the camps that have gay relatives. When you look at the youth of mixed martial arts, especially amongst the competitors and the fans, this generation is a lot less homophobic than ones before it. So while we have the meathead culture and I don't like the ratio, I think that when it gets to a live setting, it's a hell of a lot less prevalent than it is on the fucking internet where everybody, is brave and has their chest out and isn't afraid to say anything to anybody, as I found out this week. I don't think it's as bad as you say. Mike is a pessimistic asshole, so I want to hear what he has to say about it. But, as far as everything that Dana said, they have gay fighters right now. How many people have yelled dyke at Liz Carmouche? I don't think that at the highest levels, especially when these people are paying hundreds of dollars for a seat, you're going to hear a lot of that.
Well, I think hate for lesbians is different than hate for men that are gay.
Well, especially in this sort of sport where it's a very macho sport. It's a fighter like Liz Carmouche, it's sort of accepted / sort of expected that these women fighters are lesbians.
And that's another prejudice they could keep working on.
And obviously,
I mean, people joke about Nick Ring all the time.
Right. I think there's a different dynamic. I tend to agree with Derek here. I don't know if you'd actually hear people chanting faggot. That's just hard for me.
There are plenty of people in that crowd willing to kick ass on both sides of that. So most people aren't willing to start the fight by chanting faggot and then getting punched because they were. Because there are plenty of people at a UFC event that would be willing to do that raising my hand right here.
You know, and there's also aspects, though, you know, like if you look at the NHL, you look at some of the stuff PK Subban's had to hear. I mean, he's a black hockey player for the Canadiens, and I think it was when he scored against the Bruins in the playoffs last year or something in overtime. There was something he did, and it was just streams of racism on Twitter.
Well, how many like that? Yeah, that happens all the time. Anytime the Cardinals lose a game, it's because one of the niggers on their team, or one of the niggers on the other team, or one of the nigger umpires. Like there's always one of those involved.
And disclaimer: Derek's not using it as a racist term. He's not being racist when he says the N-word.
I'm using the word as the word was meant to be. It is a word.
Right.
Human beings define what words mean.
I'm just giving a disclaimer. Like
Thanks for being my PR rep, buddy. We're gonna go way far together if you're looking out for my image.
I'm giving disclaimer for this show because we're talking about a pretty out there topic that like we don't usually touch upon. Like the show is usually kind of really.
We bounce between. I like the fact that we bounce between jovial and serious, and that we can
like
that day.
This is a serious day. This is a serious topic. I just want to make sure that like when we say faggot and when we're saying what we're saying, don't try and don't.
You can
think
say
that
nigger, Matt. It's okay.
I'm gonna try and avoid saying
God
it.
Damn it,
but we're not meaning it. We're trying to give an example. We're not meaning it in that we're hating.
No,
Continue, Derek.
And I really feel like the enunciation and the tone with which you say it, because you can make it a really nasty word if you just kind of put a little inflection there on the end.
I know, like when you call me a Jew.
Yeah, it's a hard J. It's a total
J.
difference. I mean, I love the Jews, but then there are some Jews out there, and you just have to. It's like Jose Aldo. You just fucking Jew them up.
I know, it's so
when you
weird.
say Jew is a verb, you always have to use the hard J. I got Jewed at the used car dealership. It's always the hard J.
But yeah, I mean, so I don't know, man. And this has been my feeling for a while, and I think that it's your piece kind of brought a lot of things to light, and the same thing with Nick Yid, who also he watches our show. He's a friend of ours on Twitter. He wrote a similar fan post on Bloody Elbow. Or I don't know if he wrote a different one or if he wrote
it right before mine and I didn't see it and it was good, so I put it out there.
But it was a similar thing of this culture of MMA.
I was more cursy. I cursed more.
You were more cursy and yours was longer. It was
I
too
said,
long.
go fuck yourself, stupid. Bloodstained language was the only response needed.
It was too long. Didn't read. But the
TLDR, you asshole.
but for real, like I think that for the most part we ignore MMA culture because we're all fans of the sport. I enjoy watching fights. Derek enjoys watching fights. Mike, I'm assuming he enjoys watching fights when he watches them instead of hanging out with his girlfriend. But like, I don't like the people that watch fights. I don't like going to bars. I don't like talking about it with other fight fans. I hate the certain comment sections. I don't I'm the nominator of the people.
All right, now you're back. We just got the nominator of the people part.
Lowest common denominator of people. Sorry.
Well,
Yes.
I'd like to say too that I feel that way about sports fans in general. I mean, an MMA fan. I've heard every so often, on the train or out in public, I've heard people talking MMA, and it when they're actually talking fights, and it's usually just drivel. But I feel that way about just sports in general. I think most sports fans, and it sort of just by extension, most people are just kind of morons.
Right.
Yes, and that was my argument last week, that if you took the average of the NFL crowd, which, 15 times bigger than the MMA crowd in America, and you took the average, like, IQ, I don't know how many points it would be higher than the average MMA fans. I really don't think that much. But they'd probably be a lot less homophobic, and I don't know what it is about our sport that either attracts it or doesn't properly shut it the fuck up and not reward it and fucking yell at it every time it opens its stupid mouth.
Because people yell out, kick his ass, Seabass.
That's fine. That's Dumb and Dumber. That is our generation Citizen Kane. So I'm okay with that. That's the best we can do. That's not homophobic. You can be an idiot all day. Your money's still green. If you're a homophobe, I'd rather you just fuck off and watch something else. Just go away. You're stupid. You don't listen to evidence. You care what other people do consensually with other adults, and you equate it with fucking pedophiles and shit. Just go fuck yourself. Just shut up and go away.
Hey, so can we talk about something else?
You want to talk about the fights on Saturday?
No, dude, I want to talk about how Gilbert Melendez has been told to fuck off. And
that's a segue. Goddamn.
And does he go to Bellator, or does he try and work his way back into the UFC by picking up a few wins in World Series of Fighting?
Well, according to Dana on his sounds like insane rant at
there better be
media
audio
conference.
There better be audio.
It sounds like Dana said he likes Gil, the problems with the manager, and that they are dealing with Lorenzo, and he's out of the negotiations right now. He being Dana.
Good. Yeah, I mean, people think that Dana has like this magical veto power, or if they get a fighter, it's completely Dana's credit. If they lose one, it's completely his blame. He owns as much of that company as the Abu Dhabi motherfuckers do. And I believe that Lorenzo and Frank split the other 81% of Zuffa. So those are the guys making the decisions, signing the checks, deciding who gets what, deciding if a guy is worth the money or not worth the money. And Gilbert Melendez got paid more for showing up than Benson Henderson did for showing up, and Benson's win plus show up bonus, $200,000, was just 25 less than what Melendez made just to show. So it's very possible that Melendez was severely overpaid by Strikeforce, and now that he's 1-1 in the UFC with the win over Diego Sanchez, he needs to adjust his salary to be more in line with other 155ers.
Yeah, I mean, Strikeforce severely overpaid everybody.
Yes,
that's without question. And as far as negotiations go, Gilbert Melendez is 1-1 in the UFC. Yeah, you can make the argument that he's 2-0, but he's not. He's 1-1. And when you're making 175 base salary, I'm assuming that his manager was like, "Hey, we need a raise," because that's
sure.
That's the logical move. Is, hey, we need a raise. And on the other hand, his salary is not in line with the with the rest of the lightweight division, and that's not just in the UFC, that's in Bellator, that's everywhere else. He's not a draw for the UFC. He's not somebody that were like, I'm gonna buy five.
This is the downfall of not having your own internet, Matthew.
Oh, he's good. We're good.
I'm fine right now.
I missed it.
Well, that's your internet.
Yeah.
That's your internet.
Talking that shit.
He
ask a question first.
The big thing with Gil is he's not a draw. Nobody's buying 400,000 pay-per-views to watch Gilbert Melendez fight.
No, and without that name recognition, I mean, I don't know what exactly the negotiating point between his management was. If they're asking for a raise, that's silly. If they're not accepting anything less than an extension and a continuation of what he was making before, then that's silly, because there's no way that you can expect to maintain that kind of ability when you're not a draw, when you're not making the company money. This was
that's not silly, though. I mean, if he thinks he can get that somewhere else or close to it,
then knock yourself out. I mean, go ahead. If you want to help sink Bellator because Viacom is forcing them to overpay athletes, then if you see a window there,
it's not wrong for him to demand that what he thinks he's worth. Plus, I mean, it looks terrible for the UFC if they let the number 1 or number 2 ranked lightweight walk.
That looks terrible.
I mean, Gilbert's in a spot where he has probably the most leverage he can have without being the champion, and he's going to have to use that leverage to get as much as he can out of this negotiation. And clearly, Dana doesn't like when guys have leverage and are able to use it like this.
Well, they could go and do 1 or 2 fights. I wouldn't sign a Bellator contract for all the money in the fucking world if I thought I was UFC caliber. If you want to talk just a roadblock and a fact that they won't sign you out of spite if you went to Bellator and succeeded and then could bounce back. So I don't see the logic in it. If he thinks he's going to have a long, fruitful career ahead of him and he thinks he's going to be top 5 for a while, then there is absolutely no excuse for signing with anyone other than the UFC, particularly for the endorsement money, which is just not even comparable in a place like Strikeforce or World Series of Fighting if you're towards the top of the card. If you're an undercard guy, you're not making shit anyway. But if you're an uppercard guy and you can actually sell endorsements to companies that sell clothing and are involved in the MMA sphere, you're making a lot more money in the UFC on your shorts and on your shirts than you are anywhere else.
But again, though, if the UFC is going to lowball him,
I think he's going to lose money if he signs anywhere else. If he signs somewhere else for $25,000 more to show and $25,000 more to win, he's losing money.
But you don't know what the difference is right now. I mean, if Gill's asking for 150 and the UFC's telling him we'll give you 50 and 50 to show and win,
I think that would be a severe lowball by the UFC, and I'd agree with that. And like you said,
it wouldn't be a severe lowball considering what the pay scale at lightweight is.
No, I think that him and Benson Henderson had a super competitive fight, and to pay one of them $100, which is Benson's pay, and to pay the other one 50-50 would be. But
Benson was also a former champion. I mean, that's part of the reason why he's getting 100 and 100 right now.
Well, then maybe you fight 50 and 50 for one fight, and then that bumps you up if you win, and if you don't, you're still at 50 and 50. Most people in the UFC have to put together a UFC winning streak to have a contract that's worth a shit. And Gilbert Melendez has not done that yet. Like, I don't want him to go, but I think it's a bad business decision if he does.
I don't think he's going to, but I think he's using the leverage he has right now to try to extract as much money as he can.
How often
which is all he has to do.
Like, how often does Zuffa pay people more than they think they're worth? How often does a fighter win that argument?
I'm not sure what you're arguing right now.
What I'm saying, normally when it comes down to it, and you think you have leverage, which is I'll go somewhere else and make more money. Zuffa says, shakes your hand, and says, "Best of luck, have fun."
Again, do you think Zuffa is going to be happy with their number 1, number 2 lightweight walking?
No, but I don't think they'll let him break the pay scale, what they have set up for guys based on UFC experience, in order to keep him.
Well, sure, but
I see it as a real conflict.
Mike, that's what happened with that's why they had to give Benson Henderson a raise and pay-per-view points when they were trying to sign Eddie Alvarez, the first time around, and his contract went public. That's when Benson Henderson's management, Malkikawa, and renegotiated, because Ben was like, "Wait, I'm your champion. I've been your champion for I think he defended the title at that point 4 times." And he looked at it and was like, "Wait, why the fuck are you giving him what was Eddie Alvarez supposed to get paid? Like a base salary of like $200,000?"
Oh, it's a signing bonus of $250,000. And I think $200,000 plus pay-per-view points. And Ben Henderson was making 75-75 or 50-50 or whatever it was. And Ben Henderson was like, "What the fuck are you doing? I'm your champion. Why are you giving him this? I don't have pay-per-view points. I don't have that money." So I mean, like, the UFC also, the reason why they don't release numbers the way that they release numbers, and contracts the way that they release contracts, as opposed to like the NFL, where you can go on Yahoo right now and you can see what everybody's. They don't have to, because they're a privately held company.
They don't have to, but it also, because you would break the pay structure of the rest of the division. Like when Hector Lombard came in and he was making $350 of.
I still think he's making $300,000 as a flat rate, and he still gets his pay-per-view points.
But that potentially broke the middleweight division.
Here's what Alvarez was supposed to get if he signed with the UFC. The intent to grant Alvarez an immediate title shot against Benson Henderson. A tiered share of the pay-per-view revenue starting at $1 for each buy between $200,000 and $400,000. $2 per buy between $400,000 and $600,000, $250 for every buy over $600,000, a starting base salary of $70 to $70 to show win, which includes $5,000 raises per win with a cap at $210,000, a $250,000 signing bonus, a guaranteed booking on a Fox card, and 3 commentator appearances on UFC branded media.
Right, and
Bellator matched that sumbitch, didn't they?
And his first fight was supposed to be the co-main event on John Jones versus.
No, it was a GSP card, wasn't it? He was supposed to do GSP Diaz.
I thought it was GSP.
He was supposed to do GSP Diaz, so that Bellator, that fucking bastard, Bjorn Rebney, cost him about $1.2 million.
No. It was Jones Sonnen. It was supposed to be in that New Jersey card, and it was going to be and it was Jones Sonnen, and that card ended up doing 550,000 pay-per-view buys, and that was the big thing, is that he would, like, because his first fight was supposed to be booked for that card, he was like gonna net like an extra $700,000 in and that was where the big beef was.
Well, damn it, I can see what you're saying. I completely believe you. I just
Derek admits defeat. Matt
What do you
wins!
defeat?
Matt wins!
You're
Matt
telling me-
wins! Matt wins! Matt wins! Matt wins! I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
We're
I
like
hate
20
you.
minutes out.
I hate you.
And Mike
I
didn't
hate
say
you.
anything.
I hate-
He might say the same thing
I
that I
hate
did,
you.
so he doesn't.
I hate you.
He just
Can
said
we,
quietly.
I hate you. No, we're doing this for 20 minutes. I hate you.
Fuck off.
Not gonna happen.
We'll mute you. Well, we're on the topic of money and fighters and pay. Dana, in that conference call or media conference today, said that with this upcoming fight, Ronda Rousey would become one of the top 10 paid UFC fighters of all time.
I think that's promoter speak. In breaking news, promoter speaks, promoter speak.
Did you see? So Kevin Iole tweeted that, and I said that was a meaningless statement, and then he said I'm a complete moron, which I enjoyed. But
Well, that is also a meaningless statement coming from Kevin Iole.
the point being, though, is that without any sort of public knowledge of what the fighters are making for real, it's a statement that doesn't really mean anything, because there's no way to verify that statement. It's probably true. I don't doubt it, but there's no way to verify it.
No, and that's why it's promoter speak. That's why he can use any rubric for highest paid fighter of all time. Like, well, she's making a bunch of money for this fucking movie, so that counts. And her sponsorship deals are really high. That's what they say. And he said that's going to be as of her next fight. So it's not just the two that she's had thus far with pay-per-view points. And Luca Fury, who I normally like and is a pretty agreeable fellow, was going nuts talking about how Ronda Rousey is this piece of shit, like average draw, and coming into a UFC debut against somebody that nobody's ever heard of and pulling 450 on a not stacked card is just fine. People are like, this is going to test Ronda's drawing ability. People were worried about Ronda doing 200 by herself. The fact that she's doing double that is mind-blowing. And if she does 300, that's still crazy impressive.
Derek, here's actually a question for you, because this is kind of related to Gil, and also obviously people have hopefully heard about how Dana has been burying Alistair Overeem in the media. Do you agree that he should be doing that, Derek?
As far as JDS, or which one are you asking me about?
No. Do you believe that Dana in the media should be using his broadcast partner to bury his fighters to help with his own negotiations? I want you to defend him doing that.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to defend it. I don't know if I want to, but I've always talked about the promoter as walking the tight line and moderating between the two camps of fighters and fans who want very, very, very different things, and at the same time trying to grow the sport both internationally and with the fan base and getting more people into it and getting more exposure and whatever. So right now you have the fighters and the fans at dead end. They're ramming heads into each other because the fans want JDS Overeem yesterday. They don't give a fuck how it happens. They want it to happen. And apparently, Overeem is the problem. Overeem was ready to fight. Dana said it's kind of crazy that he got injured as soon as I asked him about Junior Dos Santos, said he wasn't ready. Offered him 3 rounds here, offered him 5 rounds there. No on both. I feel like as the promoter, his hands are very tied. He has a complete inability to do anything but cut a fighter. He can't suspend a guy for turning down a fight. He can't fine a guy for turning down a fight. And you don't have this problem in the NFL. There aren't quarterbacks that are really good that are just like, fuck the Seattle defense. I'm not going out there. You put in the backup this week. I'm not doing it. Let me know when there's something out there I can look good doing. You don't have that in other sports. You fulfill your contract, you go out and you play who is on the schedule, and you don't set the schedule. So as the promoter, I don't know what else he's supposed to do other than go to the fans and say, look, I can't change this guy's mind. Maybe you can if you want this fight bad enough. What else? I'm asking you, Mike.
That's a very kind way of interpreting how Dana phrased that.
I'm asking you legitimately, what is Dana supposed to do? What is he supposed to say? We can't make the fight. I can't make the fight. That's all I can say about it. Blame who you want to blame. Like, what is he supposed to do?
But my question is he supposed to use his broadcast partner to try and help his own negotiations? Because he did the same thing with Gilbert Melendez. So my question is,
I'm not firm on one side or the other. Like I'm not categorically against it. I don't think it's the best idea, but it's one of the very few tools in his arsenal is to rally public opinion. And Fox loves it because people watch it, so it's win for them either way.
But as a sports fan, and Derek, you are a traditional sports fan. I know this.
I am.
You watch NFL all the time. You tweet about it. You're a massive football fan.
I like Dana White. I'm not saying
that as far as negotiation should go, and I look at Dana White in the same way that I would look as an NFL owner, because at the same time, like they're negotiating pay, they're the same.
And NFL owners do the same shit. They're just like, he's holding out because he's selfish. You know, if he wants to play, he can get on the field and fucking play. If he doesn't, he won't. That happens in every sport.
But like it doesn't happen as often. I think is the big thing, and it's not as reported as widely as often because of the way that MMA media needs to.
Well, I think it'd be different
every single word that Dana White says.
I think it would be different because you have player holdouts in the NFL. You have guys saying, I have outperformed my contract, I'm better than what you're paying me, and until you pay me, I'm not going to do anything for you anymore. And you see a lot less of that in the UFC because I think that a lot more people are happy with their pay as they advance and as they succeed. And, you know, there is no union, of course, backing them up, which would also be helpful. And I've long advocated. No, but they could collectively act. And there's nothing.
They can't. They literally cannot do that.
Why not?
As independent contractors, they cannot do that.
They cannot form an organization called a union and pay dues and do those things. But if 3 champions said, we're sitting on our hands until you do this, there's nothing to stop them from doing that. There's nothing forcing the fighters from fighting. To fight. There's nothing that's stopping them from voluntarily just stopping their labor and stopping supplying it until certain conditions are met.
Wait.
Nothing stopping them from doing that.
Time out 1 second, because Patrick Wyman is saying something in the comment section. He's saying they can form an association, but not a union.
An association like tennis, where the tennis players basically
and golf.
they run the PGA and the was it the WTA, the world, whatever the tennis organization is? Mm-hmm. I mean, they run those organizations. Those are athlete-ran.
Do you want the fighters picking who the next Dana White is? Does that sound like a good idea to you?
I'm not advocating that they do that.
But I do advocate an association. And what they can't unionize. Then what the fuck is your solution? Co-promotion? We're gonna go back to that fucking deal?
Well, they legally cannot unionize.
No, they legally cannot unionize, but collective action is not the same thing as unionization.
That technically is illegal.
What are they going to do? Say you guys not fighting is illegal? You guys not fighting is illegal.
It's like if Walmart and Target and Kmart are all colluded and fixed prices. It's the exact same.
Mike, listen to what you're saying, okay? 3 fighters. Take your welterweight champion.
Derek,
listen very closely to this scenario.
There are 3 independent businesses.
They're independent.
It's a legal issue. It's not. This isn't like an opinion.
These are 3 independent contractors. Okay?
Yes,
these are 3 independent contractors. So your welterweight champion, your heavyweight champion, your lightweight champion. They walk into Dana White's office. They put their belts on the desk, and they say, "Until you pay everybody $25.25, at least everybody that you sign, unless that's your floor, we're not going to fight." You think the courts are going to force them to defend their belts? Get in the cage and go. You're not allowed to voluntarily stop fighting and retire. Threaten to do that. You have to fulfill your contract.
The UFC can sue them.
Okay, for what? Performance? You have to get in the cage? You have to get in the cage.
I don't know why you're arguing with this with me.
They're not making any money off of it, Mike. They're not doing it for themselves. It's not blackmail. They're not extorting from the UFC. They're saying, until you meet our demands, we're not going to fight for you. That's not the same thing as unionization, and it is impossible to make illegal. How do you make that illegal?
They cannot join a union. They are independent contractors.
They cannot do that. They can form an association, and they can do what I just said.
No, they can't.
Unless they want to risk
action from the UFC.
That's cool. They can't threaten to quit. Mike, I'm so glad you didn't go to law school.
I'm happy that you didn't either, man.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking long and hard about it. I got to graduate in May, but then I'll figure it out coming up next year what I'm going to do. But no, you can't force people to fight. It's like, okay, you signed this contract to build my house. Get your ass up there and put up some roof tiles. It's not how it works.
Hey, Derek, speaking of legal action, what do you think of the UFC suing fans with a law that they were told 2 years ago?
What do you want them to do?
doesn't apply to. But 2 years ago they were told that this law doesn't apply to streams. How are they using? How are they using? And there was a legal precedent set 2 years ago that this does not apply to streams.
One court saying something does not mean that it's set in stone and that another court won't disagree with them and it won't work somewhere else. It is one judge saying case law.
But case law,
which is what judges say, and judges say different things.
No, that's
sometimes.
what lawyers say when they argue their cases. No, they say, as per blah blah blah.
Yeah, as per the precedent set by this case, and then they say, well, this case set a different precedent, and then it goes to appeals court, and depending on what a severe issue it is, it's eventually adjudicated at a higher level. But right now, it's up in the air as to whether or not they can do. They can definitely nail them on the copyright infringements, but I do love the new age reasoning.
They can't nail them on the copyright infringement.
Why not? Because you can't own a stream? Is this earth science class? How can you possess a fucking mountain man?
The only people that would be able to get sued for the copyright are the people that are actually providing the stream. Not the people that are watching it. Now you as somebody who goes on the Pirate Bay and downloads the events afterwards and has them on your hard drive, you would be able to get sued for copyright infringement.
Well, I can get sued for copyright infringement right now, and I understand that because I'm stealing, and so are people that stream live events.
No, live streaming is as per the language of the law right now does not define the people that are watching it. It's defined the people that are providing it.
Well, those are people that they primarily want to go after because there are tens of millions of people downloading from it. My brother,
so how they go after this person then, Derek?
When my brother was 17 years old, he hosted a big LimeWire file server, 1,000 files or so, and he got a letter under the DMCA right after they passed it, saying if you don't fucking take that shit down, you're done, and we're going to come and nail your IP. So they threatened him and said, if you stop doing it, we're not going to sue you. It costs a lot of money to actually enforce the DMCA, especially in civil court. You have to hire a lawyer, you have to bring the kid, you have to, categorize whatever songs, you have to get his IP records, and they focus on the big fish for that reason, because otherwise they're going to be alienating millions of potential customers.
But that's different than what Title 17 states is that it does not apply because you need to possess the copyright material. You don't possess it if you're streaming it. That's
up to the judge who made that single ruling, and they'll bring it up and say, look, it creates a cat.
That's as per the current language of the law. Now, if it goes and a new judgment is reached, and it's now Zuffa versus Sabatiki, and it says that Derek Sabatiki is found infringing on copyright material because he's watching an internet stream, then you're able to rewrite the law. But what they did was they were told 2 years ago that this law does not apply to streamers.
And they're still trying?
And they're successful with it.
Okay, well, good for them. They're trying to stop piracy of their events. I applaud their efforts.
They're suing under something that they're not legally allowed to sue under.
Not legally allowed to. They're trying to make it work, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
The only reason why they got this judgment is because the person just didn't show up, and that also could mean, hey, Derek, I'm going to sue you in Colorado. I'm going to sue you in the state Colorado court. Where is that? Are you going to be able to, or hey, Derek, I'm going to fly, because the person that is providing the stream, let's say is based out of they're based out of Paris, France. Derek, are you going to show up to court in Paris? No. So you're not going to show up, and then oh man, Michael Mersch from the UFC, his hourly rate is about $1,000 an hour.
You wanted to get away with it, just leave streamers
alone?
No.
What I'm saying is that if the UFC would not have gotten away with it if the person had an ISP lawyer on retainer.
Okay, well, good for that. Hopefully that guy reads fucking Ian Kidd articles on Bloody Elbow, so next time he won't get fucking.
Yo, shout out to Ian Kidd.
Good for him.
Shout out to Ian Kidd.
Good for him.
New journalist in the sport. He and Brent Brookhouse, they're bringing down the game. They're the new cats. They're the new shit. Yo, fuck Derek Sabatiki. Shout out to my boy Ian Kidd. Holla! I'm out.
He doesn't belong in the same sentence as Brent Brookhouse.
All right,
that is offensive.
Derek, I'm going to settle this once and for all. This is from a Communications Workers of America page about independent contractors. Under the heading, The Right to Organize. As an independent contractor, the terms and conditions of the work you perform are set out in a contract between you and the employer.
Okay.
Even though you are not considered an employee under federal labor law, you may still join a union. However, you should keep in mind that a unit of independent contractors is not subject to the same privileges and protections as a regular union bargaining unit.
Okay.
For example, an employer is not under the same obligation to bargain with a union regarding contract terms for an independent contractor.
So the employer doesn't have to bargain with you. Next.
No, they don't have the ability to collectively bargain.
Collectively bargain. Define collective bargaining. Where you say define collective bargaining.
Let me finish. For example, an employer is not under the same obligation to bargain with a union regarding contract terms for an independent contractor that it is to bargain over issues affecting his regular employees. Also, an independent contractor who went on strike would not be protected from employer reprisals under the National Labor Relations Act.
They can cut you. Okay.
Despite these limitations, joining a union as an independent contractor can yield useful benefits and resources. This local can help you secure health and equipment insurance, provide you with contract advice, and help you find and secure jobs. The union can also fight for your legislative interest and provide educational programs. One thriving, blah 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 blah.
Okay, so
from a Huffington Post article, but the inability to bargain collectively, says Lee Adler, a senior extension associate at Cornell University School of Industrial Labor Relations, is a major impediment. Quote, offering portable benefits is nothing to be sneezed at, but I don't see this as having a significant effect on the labor market. It's not a substitute for unionism. It's the second best thing.
You
cannot collectively bargain as an independent contractor.
No. Here's the deal. Here's what it says. It's when you're in a union and you collectively bargain with them, they're not allowed to fire you. They're not allowed to do anything to you for that. They're not allowed to get rid of you because you're in a union. You can get rid of an independent contractor. They could cut the champions for walking in there and saying, we're going to retire. I never said they couldn't. They wouldn't, because it would hurt their bottom line more than what they're asking for. It's all about whether or not the draws are willing to take a hit for the people that aren't. And until they are, nothing is going to change. When they are, it'll change overnight. It'll be instantaneous. They'll rewrite every contract on the books if 4 guys who gave a shit and were worth a shit went into the offices and said, we're not fighting again until this is done. It'd be instantaneous. And yes, Dana White could fire them. That's the unfortunate downside of being an independent contractor. You do not have that protection against employer reprisals in exchange for that bargaining tactic.
All right, we have 4 minutes to talk Machida versus Mousasi.
Did
Roth leave?
Yeah, I've been trying to talk about this fight for weeks. I love this fight. I've got Machida figuring it out and winning by TKO in the 4th.
I think this is a really interesting fight. Ultimately, I think Mousasi has got the skill set and the athletic ability to beat anyone he wants, or not anyone he wants, but he has the ability to compete with anyone. The problem is he's not exactly the smartest fighter, and that's going to be fucking nails against Lyoto Machida. If Machida shows up old. If his reflexes at 6 or 35, if somehow they've diminished, this is a fight Mousasi could surprise a lot of people, but without any evidence to back that, it seems like Machida is going to Machida him and probably take a decision.
A 5-round decision. It's been a while since Machida has been to one of those. I believe it was the first Hua fight, if I'm remembering correctly. That Rampage was a 3-round decision. But looking forward to the fucking co-main event, too. We're probably going to get 2 middleweight contenders out of this either way. If Souza somehow gets upset, then I don't think that Carmal somehow gets a title shot, but he's probably a fight away in that case. And in that case, you'd probably see the winners of these fights fight each other for the chance to fight the winner of Belfort Weidman. And we can talk a little bit of TRT, too. Dana White said in his crazy press rant today that it would be a problem if Vitor bowed out of the fight if he didn't get his TRT, which I thought was a pretty obvious thing. I don't know why he was asked that. But do we have any word on that from the interim, now that Kaiser is out, what Nevada's going to do, whether or not he's applied anything?
I haven't heard anything.
Because even if the doctor's saying, I know I wouldn't approve the guy, I'd still go ahead and file the paperwork and make him put the stamp on it. Like, I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. Should be a good card. I'm looking forward to it. But, Everybody hates MMA. I'm just so disappointed with. I'm not as disappointed with you as I am with the homophobes, Mike, but I am still pretty disappointed. The sport used to make you smile. And this little 4-0 kid, wrestler at Penn State, walked onto the crowd. Did you watch the All Elbows video?
I hate you.
Go watch All Elbows. Let Esterlin put a smile on your face and EKC. They know what they're doing.